歡迎大家收睇第3集 HSBC Live Live Well Series。今日我哋會講返脊骨健康同埋點接受人哋嘅意見，改善自己個全方位健康。Okay, so today we're actually going to be going through our spinal health. I'm going to get you started into a 4-point position. So we're going to start with cat-cow variations, but before we even begin that, I want to teach you how to move your pelvis. Okay, so the pelvis, our pelvic bones are actually at the end of our spine here. So all we're looking to do here is learning how to curl it under and then untuck. So learning how to isolate this movement here is really, really important. And this right here is going to be a tool of feedback for you when you actually link it in with the rest of your spine. So we're just going to go through 10 reps like this as you curl under. Try not to move any other part of your body. So we're going to start with our cat-cow today. So from here, we're going to link the pelvic movement as we curl under. We draw the belly to the spine and then we look down, crown of the head to the floor. And then from there, we're going to untuck from the tailbone first, going all the way back up into your cow position. From here, we scoop our chin down, pushing to the floor, pull the belly up, coming into your cat. And once again, as we move through this, everything that I'm saying right now is merely feedback. And I want you to try and listen objectively as you take on board what I have to say. Feedback is a tool, and merely a tool, that can be used in all aspects of your life to actually address the blind spots that we have, and everyone has a blind spot, whether or not you choose to admit it. So sometimes when we can start to see things from an outside perspective that maybe you might not have ever even thought about, that is what feedback is, and hopefully you can apply it into multiple aspects of your life. So as we come into the cat-cow here, I brought you through a full range cat-cow. This is going to be our last rep as we come all the way up into the cow position. Now from here, take note of your tailbone. You want to pull your tailbone up to the sky as much as you can, and you're using your lower back. You're using those muscles in that area to tighten, to lift your bum up higher. And now as you come out of that to come into your cat rather, drop the chin in, round down, and now again you scoop your tailbone under. This time we're curling our stomach muscles as much as we can to stretch out the backside. Then from here, we're going to slowly come out of that, come back to your neutral spine. The second part of this is actually just breaking the cat-cow down. So we're going to move only into the lumbar spine. I'm going to drop my elbows down to the ground so my forearms are on the floor. And then again, I'm just going to look straight between my hand on towards the mat. When I'm in this position, instead of just this tilting position, I want to start linking it with my entire lumbar spine. So I'm going to drop my head down lower, walk my knees in a tiny bit closer, and now I'm in a stable base. In this position, I'm going to tuck my tailbone under and start to round, like I'm trying to go through that full cat-cow again, but I can't anymore because I'm blocking myself with my thoracic spine. Then from here, as I untuck, I'm going to slowly move segment by segment all the way out, pull the tailbone up, try and pull the belly down to the floor. We're going to go for 5 reps like this. Spinal mobility is some of the most subtle movements that you can do across your body. But a lot of the time people think they're doing it right because they think they can do the movement. But when you're doing these ones, you're going to notice that actually you don't move very much when you do them properly. And this is the type of feedback that I want you to pay attention to. The subtle cues that your body is trying to tell you. If you start to move too much and your head comes off your hands, that's feedback right there. You've gone too far. When you keep your head glued down, or you use the wall or the floor, whatever it is, these tools here help build that awareness. And you add these tools to your library, which eventually help to grow. They help you grow, they help grow your awareness. You're planting the seeds all across the park to actually better yourself and expand your vision. Come back out. We've got one more like this. Coming all the way back out, curling under. And then all the way back out again. From here, we're going to slowly link that into our final part like we did in the first episode. We're going to link that back into a downward dog where we're going to link the entire spinal movement. So we started off with full range cat-cow. You can always choose to segment this and do the individual vertebrae or vertebral movement when you do this one. And then when you link it into your downward facing dog, as you press up into your down dog, you walk your feet back just a touch and walk your hands forward just a touch. Then from here, we're gonna curl under once again, coming forward into your plank. Then as you untuck, tuck the chin down, push through, and come all the way up. Only for 3 reps today. So I would much rather you segment the movement individually versus move through quickly just to get through with it and think that you've done it right. And then from here, tuck in. And look all the way up, stretching out your spine. As always in your downward dog, if you find it is too much, you have the option to bend your knees, or you can choose to challenge yourself a little further, straighten your legs, pull your bum up higher, then come high into your tiptoes, roll forward, individual vertebrae one at a time, squeeze your bum, last one up, and over. So from there, that is just an introduction to your spinal movement while you're in your quadruped base into your downward facing dog. The next part is actually going to be onto our back, so we can have the floor as feedback now rather than doing it freestanding. You can do this either way. You can sandwich it so you start on the floor or you come up into the air, or you can start in the air and then use the floor as feedback. The choice is yours. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is provide tools for you so that you can do this in the comfort of your own home, but also understand how to do it by yourself as well. So we're gonna flip on over now. I'm gonna lie down on my back. So this part here, we're gonna start in a supine position. So supine position is just lying flat on your back. My legs are gonna stay on the ground here, and I'm gonna use my hands as feedback, where my fingers are just gonna stay on my hip bones. Once again, the natural curvature of your spine here, your lumbar curve of the spine often allows for gap, like a space underneath your lower back. So what we wanna try and do is learn how to crush it down, to squeeze the bum up into a pelvic tilt, and then try and uncrush and actually expose that space as much as you can. And then again, coming back under. So with your pelvic tilt here, again, it seems like a very basic movement, but the floor right now is the feedback, okay? So if my back doesn't touch the floor here, if I'm like this and I think I'm squeezing down, straight away, okay, in my mind, I might be doing the right thing, but use your hands now. Try and see if you can put your hands under. Oh, I can put them under, meaning I'm not crushing down yet. So go a little further. Push so far down that you cannot remove your hands from underneath. Maybe your bum comes up a little bit. And then as you untuck, you go back out, and then you make that space again. So we're gonna go for 5 more reps in this position. I'm actually gonna remove my hands so you can see it clearly, but please feel free to keep your hands there so you actually have that physical feedback as well. Now from here, I'm gonna start by drawing my belly button down, start to crush, 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 so far in, but now compress the abdominal wall. So rather than puff the belly up, compress down, and then as I segment back out, I'm gonna drive my tailbone down, lifting up. And again, curl back down, all the way in. And then again, you pair it with the breath. So whichever movement is harder for you, you exhale with that harder motion. Come back down. And then come back up. We got 2 more left. Then as you come back down, we're gonna link it into the next exercise already, and then all the way back out. And the last one here, as we come up, we crush down as much as you can. As mentioned earlier, the tailbone's gonna come off the ground slightly. Now from here, we squeeze our bum as much as we can and we start to lift up into a bridge. But again, you're not overarching. I want you to keep your rib cage pulling down. It's just your hips that scoop up, so you can start to see your spine peeling off the ground, and then we unpeel all the way back down. So from here, we go segment by segment, all the way back down, and then you drive your tailbone down to create that arch. Then again, we scoop under, only for 5 reps like this. Squeeze the bum, come all the way up, feel the glutes contract, hold. Then from there, we come all the way back out. And good. One last one, curling under, all the way back in, all the way up, hold, all the way back down, and out. So spinal movement, you can tell, it's very subtle movements. You're not gonna be moving around as much as you do with some of the other exercises that I might take you through. But A very important thing here is actually using the floor as feedback, listening to the feedback, and actually trying to listen to it with an open mind. And while I might talk about that with the body, I'm just sharing from personal experience through injury and everything that I've done for myself is that I've actually had to listen to these things that my body is telling me to remind myself to slow down. And an example of that is not just my shoulder, but I've had knee surgeries, and a lot of the time it's because I didn't slow down. I knew my body was coming to a breaking point, but in my mind, I wanted to keep going because I thought that mental strength was gonna overpower everything. But realistically, my body didn't want to get there, and I should have listened to those warning signs, but I didn't, and it resulted in an ACL injury. And then my body was forced into recovery. I was forced out of, all action for about a year, and that was probably one of the toughest times that I've had to go through. But I'm also very lucky that I have the knowledge that I have and the willpower that I have to push myself forward. And I think a lot of the time when it comes to resilience and learning how to overcome hard things, which I spoke about in the previous episode, is that it's ultimately a mindset. And when you can learn how to shift your mindset from being a victim or from having bad things happen to you to then flipping it over and thinking, well, there's always something that I can do about it, but you have to be sensitive about the choices that you make as well. The feedback is there for a reason. And I'm gonna keep saying that word because I think not a lot of people can take feedback. They're not willing to listen to it, or they think that they are and then they brush it aside. But these are all little clues and little pieces, again, of every single puzzle that I keep talking about. This is the big puzzle of your life right now. So when you can think about that, then hopefully we can start putting little things together, and maybe you start bettering that, that holistic approach once again, where little bit by little bit you're taking care of yourself rather than doing more damage. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. A little bit more gentle, but again, you can see how these exercises can be done on an everyday basis, whether you're lying in bed, on the floor before you go to bed. Create a new routine, start to add these things to your everyday lifestyle, and your spine will thank you for it. 咁多謝大家收睇今日嘅 HSBC Live Live Well Series。保持身體同埋精神健康係非常重要嘅，希望大家都可以揾返個 balance。下次見啦！